Assalamu alaikum. In today's video, we are looking at another brilliant game of Mikhail Tal which he played against Pliss in 1950. Which means when this game was being played, Mikhail Tal was only 14 years old. So in this game, Mikhail Tal was playing as a white and he started the game with the e4, now e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5. Rui Lopez opening. Black played a6 and in this position it looks like that Mikhail Tal can play bishop captures on c6 and after d captures on c6 he can win a pawn with the knight captures on e5, which is not right because black in this position can play queen to d4 attacking this knight and attacking this pawn. So let's say you play knight to f3 saving the knight, but after queen captures on e4 check, white has only two options. The first one is king to f1 and the second option is queen to e2. Then queen captures on d2 and after king captures on d2. In both cases, white will lose its ability to do castling on any side of the board. That's why after a6, bishop captures on c6 is not possible for the white. So Mikhail Tal in this position played bishop to a4. Black played knight to f6. Mikhail Tal did castling on the king side. Now bishop to e7, preparing castling on the king side. Mikhail Tal played rook to e1 and now he is guarding this e4 square, which means this bishop captures on c6 is now a serious threat. That's why black in this position played b5 attacking the bishop and now bishop goes to c3 square. Black did castling on the king side and Mikhail Tal in this position played c3 move. c3 looks like an awkward move because most of the player would want to play this knight to c3 or this d3 move. So the question is, why did Mikhail Tal play this c3 move? He played this move to guard this d4 square, which means in the future he will play this d4. So black in this position played d6 opening this diagonal for his bishop and Mikhail Tal in this position played h3 move. h3 is a very important move because this is stopping this bishop to g4. And why it's important? If we go back, let's say Mikhail Tal directly play this d4 move, then black can play this bishop to g4 pinning this knight, which will increase the pressure in the center. That's the reason why h3 is a very important move in this position. Black now played knight to a5 attacking the bishop and bishop goes to c2 square. So again, why did black play this knight to a5 move? Because everybody knows that Mikhail Tal will play this bishop to c2. Well, he played this move to open this path for his pawn. And why did he want to play this c5 move? He wants to support this d4 square. And finally, now Mikhail Tal played this d4 move. Now queen to c7. Queen to c7 is also very important move because black knows that after some exchanges, this file will get open. That's why he placed his queen right there. Mikhail Tal played knight b to d2 and the general plan for this knight can be knight to f1, then knight to e3 and then knight to d5 or knight to f5. He can also go from this like knight to g3, then also knight to f5 and knight to h5. So finally black captured the pawn with the c captures on d4. Now c captures on d4 and black in this position played bishop to d7, which means he wants to place his rook on this c8 square to make a battery on this c file. Mikhail Tal goes with the knight to f1 as expected and black in this position played rook to c8 attacking this bishop with the rook and the queen. So Mikhail Tal saved this bishop with the bishop to b1, but according to the stockfish, the best move for Mikhail Tal can be this knight to e3 move guarding this bishop. But we are talking about 1950s. So Mikhail Tal didn't play this move. In this position, he played bishop to b1. Now knight to c6 attacking this d4 pawn and Mikhail Tal played knight to e3. Black played pawn captures on d4 and Mikhail Tal played knight to d5. But if we go back, Mikhail Tal can also continue this game with the knight captures on d4, then knight captures on d4 and after queen captures on d4, black can continue a game with the bishop to d8 and then later rook to e8. But well, Mikhail Tal didn't capture the pawn in this position. He played knight to d5, attacking the queen, attacking the bishop and also offering this knight exchange with the knight on the f6 square. So this knight is attacking the queen, that's why black is forced to capture it with the knight captures on d5 and after pawn captures on d5, this pawn is attacking this knight. That's why knight to e5 and Mikhail Tal in this position played knight captures on d4. And it looks like that Mikhail Tal can later grab this c6 square with the knight to c6. But that looks like impossible for Mikhail Tal because this knight is guarding this square, this bishop, this queen, and this rook is also guarding this square. That's why it will be hard for Mikhail Tal to grab this square. So black continued this game with the bishop to f6 and now bishop to e3. Knight to c4 attacking this b2 pawn and attacking this bishop. And Mikhail Tal in this position made a mistake. He played b3, but according to the Indian, the best move for Mikhail Tal in this position is playing this bishop to e4, sacrificing this pawn. But Mikhail Tal missed it and he played b3. And why it's a mistake? Because now this knight on the d4 is pinned. So black captured this bishop with the knight captures on e3 and Mikhail Tal is forced to play f captures on e3 accepting this weak pawn structure. Because if we go back and we capture it with the rook, then black can play this queen to c5 move, attacking this knight with the queen and the bishop. So white can play this rook to d3, but after rook e to e8, black is threatening this rook to e4 on the next move. And that would be totally winning for the black. That's why after knight captures on e3, it's best for the white to play this f captures on e3 move. So black in this position played rook f to e8, attacking this pawn, and Mikhail Tal in this position played rook to f1. So here's the first lesson from this game for everyone who wants to improve in the chess. If you are losing the game, you should take a risk and you should try to make the position more complex. It will increase the chances of error from your opponent. And that's what Mikhail Tal did in this position. Black in this position played queen to c3 and Mikhail Tal played rook captures on f6, which is not the best move in this position. But because of this rook captures on f6 exchange sacrifice, black is forced to play g captures on f6. Well, Mikhail Tal is still losing this game, but because of this exchange sacrifice, at least Mikhail Tal opponent has a weak king, which makes the small chances for Mikhail Tal. After g captures on f6, Mikhail Tal offer a bishop exchange with the bishop to b5. Well, why did Mikhail Tal play this move? The reason is quite simple. Because of this bishop on the d7 square, Mikhail Tal queen was not able to play this queen to g4 check. That's the reason why Mikhail Tal wants to exchange this bishop with the bishop on the d7 square. So black first in this position played queen to e3 check, and after king to h1, black played bishop captures on b5, and after knight captures on f5, this knight is attacking this queen. So black in this position played queen to e2. So here's the second lesson. Again, this is not the best move for the black, but black is winning in this position. That's why he wants to exchange the queen and make this position even more simple. And these are the things that we need to learn from this game. Well, it's simple. It's not good for Mikhail Tal to exchange his queen. That's why in this position he played queen to d4. But if we go back, it looks like that Mikhail Tal can give a fork with the knight captures on d6, forking these two rooks. But that would be a blunder because now black can play this rook to c2, threatening a checkmate on the g2 square. Let's say you now exchange the queen with the queen captures on e2, but after rook captures on e2, again this position is just winning for the black because of these two powerful developed rooks. And that is the reason why in this position Mikhail Tal didn't play knight captures on d6. In this position Mikhail Tal played queen to d4. Now rook to e5 attacking the knight, so knight captures on d6 attacking this rook. And black in this position played rook to c2 threatening the checkmate on the g2 square, which is not the best move for the black in this position. So let's go back and you should stop the video and try to find which one is the best move for the black. Well, the best move for the black in this position is rook to g5, which is also threatening a checkmate on the g2 square. That's why rook to g1. But now black can play this rook to c1 and that would be totally winning for the black. But sadly, after knight captures on d6, black missed this move and he played rook to c2. Still Mikhail Tal saved this checkmate with the rook to g1 and now rook captures on a2. Mikhail Tal played queen to e7. He wants to give some checks with the queen to a8 and queen to b8. So black played queen to h5. Now queen to a8 check, king to g7, and Mikhail Tal played knight to e8 check. So again stop the video and try to find the best move for the black in this position. Well, remember the lesson number 2. In this position, black is winning, so he should try to make this position more simple for himself. That's why the best move for the black in this position is rook captures on e8. And after queen captures on e8, this position is just winning for the black because white is only playing with his queen because this rook cannot move from this g1 square. Let's say if in this position you play rook to c1 but black can play this queen to g5 again threatening the checkmate. And again Mikhail Tal would be forced to play this rook to g1. And also black has one extra pawn which is totally winning for the black. But again black missed this move in this position. He played king to g6, now d6 and black played rook to d5. But if we go back, the best move for the black in this position is queen to f5, guarding this d7 square, stopping this pawn from promoting. Now knight to c7, king to g7 and again knight to e8 check, and in this position black should have played rook captures on e8. But again black didn't get this move and in this position he played rook to d5. So now knight to c7 giving up on the pawn, but why? Because if you play rook captures on d6 then Mikhail Tal can play queen captures on g8, and yes, that's what happened in the game. So now black has only two options. The first one is king to h6 but then knight to e8 threatening this knight captures on d6 and threatening this queen to h7 checkmate. And yes, you cannot stop these two threats at the same time. That's why black in this position played a king to f5 but he resigned after this g4 check, which is forking this king and the queen. The reason of resigning is quite simple. Whatever you play, let's say king to e4, but after pawn captures on h5, Mikhail Tal has massive material advantage which is totally winning for him. And that's the reason why black resigned in this game. So I hope you like this brilliant game of Mikhail Tal, and if you like it, please like this video, subscribe to this channel to get more amazing and inspiring content.